What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of The Spectrum Show, and this one's actually going to be quite unique in the sense that it is actually a two-part episode.
That's right, Spencer. Since we have taken a while to get a new episode out, we're cramming all of Summer of Spectrum into a massive two-part recap of most of the content that has come out during the course of May to the beginning of August. Due to this restructured format for this summer's episode, we will only be releasing 10 episodes for Season 2 instead of the originally planned 12. Not to mention, these will be somewhat rapid-fire reviews, unlike what we traditionally do on this show. That being said, we will indeed be making up for lost time with this recap.
And as for the content we're reviewing, these two parts will consist specifically of, and here we go, Thunderbolts, asterisk, Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning, Ballerina, the live-action How to Train Your Dragon remake, F1, the Disney Plus series Ironheart, Jurassic World Rebirth, Superman, The Fantastic Four, First Steps, and the Disney Plus series Eyes of Wakanda.
Wow! Way to go with all the titles, man. Also, stay tuned to the end of part 2, and we will have a legitimately massive announcement to share with you guys regarding something that's coming down the line for Season 2. And in the meantime, we're going to get ready for our first Spectrum of Opinions discussion, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. We are the cast of The Spectrum Show, and it's time for our first Spectrum of Opinions discussion for part 1. This time we're talking about the somewhat recently released Marvel Studios film, Thunderbolts, The New Avengers. Spoiler alert. But anyway, guys, what do you guys think about this film? What are your Spectrum of Opinions on it?
Well, The New Avengers Thunderbolts, I think is a pretty solid film. It's not one of my favorite MCU entries. Honestly, I kind of feel like there's a little too much hype around it retrospectively.
I agree.
But I also feel like it was a solid, fine movie. There's just some aspects of it I wish were done a bit differently.
Yeah.
I enjoyed Thunderbolts, Space, The New Avengers. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I hypothetically agree with the idea that, it isn't really a return to form, but that's because I don't really buy into the return to form rhetoric, because it feels like we have this discussion like every year in between like releases, like, oh, we were back with Guardians 3. Oh, it's so over. Oh, Deadpool and Wolverine made $1 billion. Yeah. Oh, it's so over. They released Captain America. Oh, we're so back. Thunderbolts got critical acclaim even if it didn't perform well. Yeah,
we get it.
The MCU had its ups and downs before, and I think people are just kind of in their hater era.
People are stuck on the high from Phase 3, where everything was making a ton of money, I think.
Yeah.
But anyway, why don't we get into the story of Thunderbolts?
So the story of Thunderbolts, it continues off from a bunch of different projects, mainly Black Widow.
Yeah, Black Widow, Hawkeye,
the Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
And it mainly follows Yelena Belova, that is the Black Widow's sister.
Played by Florence Pugh.
Played by Florence Pugh. She's kind of like just drifting through life, taking Black Ops assignments and trying to find some purpose. Wants to get out and do more traditional hero stuff and takes one last Black Ops job, only to be stuck with John Walker from Falcon and Winter Soldier, a.k.a. U.S. Agent, even if they don't call him that in the movie, and fighting Ghost from Ant-Man and the Wasp and Taskmaster from Black Widow.
We did not bring in a single Ghost book.
Well, I mean, that's because Ghost has not had much to do outside of that one I think, Secret Invasion Thunderbolts?
No,
never mind.
It was Heroic Age Thunderbolts, and Luke Cage was the team leader.
We're not going to get into this.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, but honestly, that actually brings it to one of my personal complaints about Thunderbolts. Actually, is that they straight up killed Taskmaster within the first couple of minutes.
Okay, to be fair, I feel like that feels like a somewhat spiteful move, given that the character wasn't well received. And here's the thing: I kind of wish, like in Black Widow, the character wasn't necessarily Taskmaster. But my opinion is, you made your bed in it. Now don't be vindictive about it.
Yeah, but also I think what they should have done.
It feels like a fanboy appeasing thing that doesn't go over super well.
And honestly, I think it would have been a much better move if Sentry, more on him later, actually just straight up killed him. It would have been more like this guy's actually a serious
if you were
threat.
Gonna do that, maybe.
Yeah, if you're gonna kill a character, have them killed by the big threat at least.
Yeah, 100%. That's exactly
That being said, who was the big threat again? And in fact, I feel like there's a book I forgot to bring.
The Void.
Yeah, kind of.
I remember the Void. I think there was someone attached to him, though. I'm not entirely sure.
Oh, Sentry. You mean Sentry, played by Lewis Pullman, who, honestly, I actually really liked his performance.
That's part of the movie.
As far as casting goes, the characters in this movie are real good. They're all solidly performed. Florence Pugh is really good.
David Harbour.
David Harbour is really good. Wyatt Russell's really good. Lewis Pullman is really good. I do like Ghost's actress, even though she's kind of she's kind of shortchanged just because
That's actually something I wanted to briefly bring up. I enjoyed the movie most when it was the early section of it where it was just Yelena, Bob, U.S. Agent, and Ghost. I felt like that was a very solid, like, 4-person dynamic that I don't think the rest of the movie really manages to capture, and ultimately...
I like when Bucky gets
involved. I like when Bucky and Red Guardian get involved, but it also feels like they put a little too much strain on the movie in regards to the fact that we don't see anyone's visions inside the void outside of Yelena.
I mean, to be fair, Yelena is kind of framed as like the main character.
I know, but
of the movie.
But since this movie is all about like all these screw-ups trying to get through their past mistakes, I would have liked to see a little bit of resolution for each of them in that.
I agree.
At least U.S. Agent, because they definitely
set that up.
They foreshadow him directly being trapped in the void and having to relive like the stuff after Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And it just doesn't happen.
I mean,
so
I
it's
think for what it's worth that they managed to make it work structurally, but I do get wanting more of a good thing.
I agree. And
we joked about forgetting Sentry and that's his deal in the comics, but that's not really his deal here.
Yeah, he's actually quite good.
His backstory is kind of the same. He just kind of drank the random god juice.
He was trying to find drugs and drank the god juice.
Drink the...
they just invented the juice that makes you god.
Yeah, but
on that note...
But speaking of, I just want to say, God, Sentry was good in this.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
He was he was probably my favorite character in the movie, honestly.
Yeah, no, Bob, I really do like, the way Lewis Pullman kind of plays the character and kind of leans between his sort of I've heard that his specific, this movie deals a lot with, mental health and self-worth concepts that were... And the self-worth thing goes all the way back to original Thunderbolts, but I've heard some people discuss that Bob's struggles in this movie are specifically meant to reflect bipolar disorder.
I mean, I can see it.
Veering between very depressive episodes and very manic highs of I can do anything.
I think that's also kind of what the original Sentry comics went into a bit.
That's true, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Paul Jenkins and Jay Lee's The Sentry, which...
I've heard Paul Jenkins was consulting on this movie.
Yeah, Paul Jenkins was at Comic-Con for this movie. He ran like a special promo booth.
The original comic had a very fun promo campaign where they faked that Sentry was a long forgotten character and even got Stan Lee on it. I invented this character all the way back in the 60s or 70s, but we just forgot about him.
That's crazy, honestly.
That is really fun.
But he was invented in the 2000s.
One thing beyond Sentry being probably my favorite thing in the film. I also really liked Valentina and Mel.
Valentina's fun in this. I do think...
Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
I feel like people were kind of not really super into her in all her cameo appearances, but here she kind of really leans into it.
She kind of goes into... She's like Nick Fury, but even more scummy. I appreciate that.
She's practically Madame Hydra, let's be real here.
Well, I mean, to be fair, she at least, in theory, has good intentions. They're just, not very...
Poorly executed.
She's just a very, crack some eggs to make an omelet.
She's a corporate she's a corporate scumbag, but for superheroes, essentially.
Fair enough. But yeah, honestly...
I mean, technically, she's a government officer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But her thing kind of seemingly is just to, make herself more of high profile through that.
Yeah, no, and the post-credit stuff really leans into that.
Specifically the last one.
As far as things go, this is just one of those really solid MCU projects with the actors have a great dynamic with each other. The action scenes are pretty good, and they actually do kind of lean into it being a bunch of punch and shoot guys, so they do a lot of fun, a bunch of fun practical stunts.
Yeah, exactly.
The first that Sentry fight scene is really good.
Yeah, no, and I'm not one of those guys who's really that against CGI, because a lot of great movies have good CGI, but you never notice it. But you never notice it, so you just think it's all real life, like the Top Gun movies. But
I will say that.
But this one's good. This one's got some good action.
I did actually like Sentry's costume that he got towards the end. I really liked it, honestly. I mean, the comic accurate one, to be specific.
I do feel like as far as like recent evil Superman stuff has gone, like this is one of the better ones.
100%.
He might be the best one, in my opinion, actually.
And I think that Steven Yeun was supposed to play the character.
Yeah, Steven Yeun was supposed to play it, and I kind of get what they were going for, but one, I don't know if I would have been able to stand all the Invincible jokes.
I feel like part of the
this
thing that
makes
works
more
with
sense.
Lewis Pullman is
He just looks more mediocre.
yeah, the Sentry's
Yes, that's it.
deal in this movie is roughly
Like
depressive, bipolar, mediocre white man who is gaslit into thinking he's a god, essentially.
Yeah, no, like he's like I and don't get me wrong, Steve Yeun probably would have killed this.
Yeah.
But this is Lewis Pullman's role.
Yeah, no, and Steve Yeun, like Lewis Pullman was a pretty big deal in Top Gun. Like, I mean, that
True.
movie had a lot of up and coming guys. But
Yeah, but there's like some interesting subtext with him playing Sentry versus Steven Yeun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we need to talk about particularly the last post-credit scene, because that's where
this is going to lead into another thing. It was that these are, as the new title suggests, these guys are our new Avengers, and they are all set to go for Doomsday. Probably aren't the best team, but they're what we've got, and they're going to be encountering four very special superheroes that you may be familiar with in a few seconds.
Okay.
But we are running
up on our time limit, but we can quickly give these comic recommendations.
If you wanna see Yelena Belova in Red Guardian, hit up Winter Guard. Also, Kelly Thompson's Black Widow features Yelena a lot, and Greg Rucka and Devin Grayson stuff. If you want to see John Walker / U.S. Agent, the Mark Gruenwald stuff is a really good time. If you want to get Bucky Barnes, Kyle Higgins and Ed Brubaker have done some really good stuff.
This was recently reprinted in Thunderbolts: The Saga of the Winter Soldier, so it is finally back in print, and you don't have to pay an absurd price for it.
If you thought Taskmaster got shortchanged, or you're not a fan of the version they used, like Jed McKay's Taskmaster is a really solid miniseries. And as far as the Thunderbolts as a team, well, they're pretty different across their whole history. If you want a team of villains who are trying to pull off an evil scheme, but some of them become heroes along the way, go for the original. If you want a sort of Black Ops Suicide Squad thing, go with this Warren Ellis, Mike Deodato thing.
Buy it secondhand. Don't support
Ellis.
Ellis.
Ellis is not a good guy. And if you want something that's fairly movie accurate but has something of a revolutionary undertone, the recent series by Colin Kelly and Jackson Lansing is very good and has a team that resembles the movie with Bucky, Yelena, Red Guardian, and U.S. Agent, and also has some other hangers-on like
and Valentine is here too.
Yeah,
and we also have some hangers-on like Sharon Carter, Black Widow, and Shang-Chi.
And Black Widow in her symbiote outfit. Shang-Chi used to be a spy hero.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and anyway, we are done.
One last comment. Going back to that Jeff Parker Heroic Age run.
That Sentry.
Man-Thing should have been in the movie. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he was going to be in the movie.
Yeah, he was going to be in the
Really?
movie. He should have been in the movie.
And yeah, even though, much like Paul Jenkins intended, I Forgot Sentry, you should pick up the Paul Jenkins Sentry book.
Yeah. So that being said, we're going to wrap up this particular discussion, but don't go anywhere. We have a bunch more discussions to come, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. We're the cast of the Spectrum Show, and we're moving on to our next Spectrum of Opinions discussion, which is specifically this time Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Sorry, I really struggled with that one for a sec.
Yeah,
So,
no, this is,
the final Mission Impossible film.
I mean, ostensibly, like, you can never be certain with these things. They might Hayao Miyazaki it, pull another one out.
True.
But Tom Cruise, despite how he looks, isn't getting any younger, and his insurance agent isn't getting any less anxious.
That's true. But this basically takes place after the events of Dead Reckoning, which I thought was a fantastic film.
Dead Reckoning is a good time.
This, I would say, he struggles in a lot of what Part 2 films really do. They're not, and in my opinion, Part 2 films are not nearly as good as Part 1 films. In my opinion.
I mean, for what it's worth, I really like this about as much as I liked Dead Reckoning.
I liked it a little less, but it was still very solid. It was very well made.
I mean, the plot here is that Ethan Hunt has the key to stop the AI entity that is going to plague the world and plunge it into a nuclear crisis. But he has to find out, where like the entity's source code is, so he can use the key and put a stop to it once and for all while being chased by his, eternal rival, played by what's the actor's name?
I don't remember. We'll put it in post for sure. But basically, it basically picks up with all the characters from Dead Reckoning, and honestly, they straight up kill one of the main characters in the first 20 minutes.
I mean, that's basically how they show they're serious and mean business, and this is the last one, because Ving Rhames, Luther, has, been kind of a mainstay throughout these as Ethan's right-hand dude.
And I will say, his final message at the end of the movie almost got my dad in tears watching it.
Well, I mean, has your dad been a big MI fan?
He loves the Mission Impossible films.
I mean, you know the cast of the original show didn't like the first movie.
Well, more you know. But anyway, I will say, the one thing this movie did the best, I would say, is all the connections between all the other movies. It was like, it's so well, like they revealed that the rabbit's foot in Mission Impossible 3 was the entity the whole time, basically.
I mean, normally that thing is kind of groan-worthy, but it's kind of fun here because they don't overplay it.
Yeah, and
they bring back a character from Mission Impossible 1.
Yes.
A character who's tied into the most famous sequence from Mission Impossible 1.
And they finally met. Like, that was amazing the way they did that, I think.
It's kind of like, Piccolo and Vegeta never fighting in DBZ. We've never met, have we?
Yeah, but I don't watch Dragon Ball. But anyways, honestly, the stunts in this are second to none.
Well, I mean, Mission Impossible has basically kind of set the standard for big, whole press junket things about just how crazy the stunts are getting.
Yeah, and honestly,
and even there is also another sequence aside from the big headliner sequence taking place in a submarine where Ethan has to navigate around it.
That might be one of the better underwater sequences I've seen in a film in a long time.
It's a really fun time. I even kind of like a lot of the crew that helps him prep for it on that submarine. They're kind of a fun bunch of side characters.
Good casting for them too, honestly. Got Katie O'Brien, and I think one of the black man, I think he was in, he's going to be playing one of the Jackson brothers in the Michael Jackson biopic, I believe.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I really liked his performance in this, honestly. It was, everyone I think did a fantastic job, and they bring back
Simon Pegg, Palm Clementif.
Yeah, I liked her a lot in this. Shea Wiggum, who I think was the guy chasing Ethan Hunt in Dead Reckoning, it was revealed that he was the son of one of the earlier villains in the series, I believe. I believe that's what it was. If someone correct me in the comments if I'm inaccurate on that. But
yeah, no, these actors, they're not going to blow away your opinion on Hollywood interplay and connections for gangs of super spies or whatever. But they have solid chemistry and they really shine in the action scenes.
I loved Haley Atwell in this as well.
One thing that this is Mission Impossible, so we do have to talk about the big, heavily advertised marquee action scene, and it is something.
Let's just. And you're talking about the plane one, right?
Oh yeah.
That was insanity, and it lasted for at least 45 minutes at least.
45 minutes? I think you're highballing it.
Okay, but it felt like 45 minutes at least.
It's a pretty lengthy, pretty substantial action scene where Ethan and the entity's main enforcer are engaged in a chase to shut it down just at the last moment before the world is brought to the brink.
Yeah.
And it's as
impossible as you can get, basically.
And there is such a tension with Tom Cruise's dedication to making this feel tactile by filming in as many approximations of this exact situation he can.
Yeah, it was insanity.
Yeah, it's insanity, and the way the bad guy goes out is kind of brutal too.
Yeah,
and also very kind of funny.
I literally walked out there and was like, oh my god, and he just gets crack his skull, but
he kind of cracks his skull, but I don't want to. That's
it's a little gruesome. It's a little gruesome.
Yeah.
And it just felt like such a crazy conclusion. The fact that this is the end of the Mission Impossible franchise, at least for now. But you know what I would have loved, honestly, if there was a post-credit scene at the end of the movie where it's he's just sitting there with the ending, what can I do with this? And just leave it open-ended for the rest of the time. That would have been insane.
I don't know. I think all the other action movies think they're too good for a post-credit scene now that people don't like Marvel.
I mean, this would have been a fun one, though, I will say, if they did that. It was
Mission Impossible is just as crowd-pleasing.
Well, yeah. That being said, they're also kind of on
True.
They're also on kind of a they were also on kind of a box office downturn with the last movie, though, weren't they?
But what was after the first one after the pandemic, I think, as well.
Well, yeah, but also didn't the first one also have some bad timing? It came out near some other big releases.
Oh, they got killed by Barbenheimer.
Oh, it was actually before Barbenheimer, I think. It was
bad luck.
It came out before, and then Barbenheimer hit, and it died.
And this one honestly got hit hard too, because believe it or not, because I work at a theater. This one got destroyed by a Disney film, Lilo and Stitch, which is shocking to say. And the fact that actually, I was like, I'm still mad at that. And Paramount should have this is a finale film. How do you?
Honestly,
I'm gonna.
I actually watched this as back to back with Tim Robinson's Friendship. Wild pairing of movies right before I went to a convention too.
Yeah, I believe it.
But anyway, I think we're both pretty much in agreement on this.
This is a solid film.
Some solid film, solid character work, some good chemistry, great acting, and absolutely insane action set pieces. You're really not going to get anywhere else.
Yeah, but I will say,
I mean, unless you're looking at Top Gun, Maverick, or F1, but that's a different brand of thing.
But I will say that's all true if you've seen all the previous Mission Impossible films. It definitely helps to see those beforehand.
I mean, I think you'd be fine if you just saw Dead Reckoning and the others are supporting things. You don't really need to watch every Avengers movie to watch Avengers.
I mean, that's true.
You don't need to watch First Avenger or Iron Man, but it helps.
Yeah, I guess that's what I'm saying. It helps. But anyway, we're gonna wrap up and move on to our next discussion. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. We are the cast of The Spectrum Show, and we're moving on to our next spectrum of opinions, this time focusing on our first John Wick film that we've done on the show, Ballerina. So, Sean, what did you think about this movie?
Ballerina is... I enjoyed Ballerina, and I don't know if I enjoyed it as much as the main series John Wick movies, but I do think, that this general production has a really good grasp on what makes some nice-looking cinematic action. So all in all, it's still a very good time.
Yeah, I agree. It's a very solid movie and has a very solid foundation, I think.
So for story this time, Ana de Armas plays the member of a secret organization of ballerina assassins from I think they were in the third John Wick movie.
It takes place in between the third and the fourth, I believe.
Yeah, no, as side character. They were introduced as sort of another side faction in John Wick's sprawling world of organized crime and paid killers.
Yep.
In her case, it's a fairly standard revenge setup where her father is killed by a big, cult-leading crime boss. She basically falls into his world of, contract killing when she's adopted by this by this Russian organization.
Mm-hmm.
They train her, and eventually she basically just kind of goes off on her own once she's an adult and an experienced killer to, track down the guy who murdered her father. Yeah. And crosses paths with, I don't know, some dude played by Keanu Reeves, I guess. I don't even remember what his name was.
Someone named John Wick, and he actually had a lot of presence in this film, honestly.
I don't know if
or more than I was expecting.
I think maybe some of that was reshoots, but some people were expecting more John Wick and they wanted to put in more John Wick to, tide them over, but. I can't be,
complain.
I mean, I can't be 100% certain about that, and I also can't complain.
Yeah, but honestly, the cast is a very solid cast. Honestly, you have obviously Keanu and Ana de Armas, but we also have. Isn't this Lance Reddick's final theatrical role?
Yes, he also has a small part. He's the concierge of the Continental.
Yep, that is correct. And also Norman Reedus, who I thought was great in this film.
Yeah, Norman Reedus has a very strong supporting role in this. He's quite fun.
Yeah, I thought he was really, and honestly, the whole cast was really good. Honestly.
Mm-hmm. There's some really good set pieces in this too.
Yes.
One of the most memorable sequences in the movie, as far as most people are concerned, is a big duel with flamethrowers near the end of the movie.
Oh yeah, that's right. And honestly, just all the action in this from the ice fight at the beginning, and what else was a good one? Oh,
you mean the nightclub?
Yeah, at the nightclub, yeah, and
the opening action scene with with
his father,
Ana de Armas' father.
Yeah, and honestly, there was just a lot of really good stuff happening in this. It was honestly hard to keep track of, honestly.
I mean, yeah,
to an extent. I mean, and I also did the scene where they're in the village and all those people are just chasing.
Like just coming at her.
That's insane, honestly.
Yeah, no, they're really good with great set piece action and that sort of thing. The one element here that is kind of subpar is none of it. This is one of those movies where nothing is really stands out as an out and out weak point, but some of its elements just aren't the strongest. Like this is a very conventional. The plot is a very conventional revenge action setup with not much in the way of subversion or deconstruction, and that's fine, but you don't need to subvert or deconstruct something to put a bit more meat on the bone.
I'd say that. And honestly, one thing I noticed about the film was that whereas John Wick wanted out of this whole world, Ana de Armas's character Eve, she wanted in. I think if I remember correctly.
I think that's meant to be sort of the point of contrast with her and John eventually confronting each other.
And it's Keanu. She wasn't gonna win regardless. That fight was great, by the way.
I mean, they're not going to undermine John Wick in any of these because unless you're played by Jet Li.
Oh yeah. Wait, was Jet Li in one of the films?
He was in the fourth one. He was the guy who totally rocked him, kicked his butt.
I still need to catch up on my John Wick films, honestly, because Ballerina was the first one I actually saw, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah, and I was impressed, honestly. And another thing that kind of not as important thing, but something I really liked about the movie as a whole, one of the songs that came with it too, the Evanescence song in the credits, I loved it. I'm just saying, might be up for a Spectrum Award this year. It's
Evanescence.
They had a
this plus Devil May Cry. Are they trying to do a comeback or whatever?
I think so, and for the most part it's working. So kind of, but anyways, it's quality stuff.
If you're a fan of John Wick, you will probably enjoy this. John Wick and its general style of action. If you like, the crazy concepts in terms of, its world building of organized crime, you'll like this.
Yeah, is there anything else we can really say about it, or is that pretty, because it's pretty self-explanatory, honestly.
It's one of those movies that doesn't really require a lot of elaboration.
It helps to know the other films, but this is good enough to be a standalone.
It's one of those solid, fundamentally solid, not really transcendent action movies.
Yeah.
Kind of like Nobody 2 or Novocaine or
any of the other
Nobody 1, honestly.
Yeah, any of the other those kind of action films. Basically.
I mean, I think the other John Wick movies are a bit more extra and just
go over the top a little bit.
Yeah, a bit more over the top than this. Whereas this feels like, they really want to set up a franchise, a side franchise, a side hustle.
Yeah, and I think, honestly,
there are worse franchises to set up a side hustle.
True,
with.
and I will say, I think, sorry, fly on the table. Sorry about that, folks. But basically, what I was going to say was, I think there is a John Wick Chapter 5 in the works.
Yeah, which, honestly, don't know how they're going to pull that one off, given how 4 escalated things.
And not to mention, 4 was it kind of ended on a kind of a cliffhanger, if I remember correctly.
I think a cliffhanger is not the right term.
An open-end.
What you're looking for is it felt conclusive. It felt like this is where the story ends. The kind of exact opposite of open-ended, really.
Yeah, but it also kind of felt a bit open-ended as well. But he could have survived that if he wanted to.
I mean, yeah, but it's basically implied that he died.
All the articles I read saying because let's be real.
Well, they weren't. If they wanted to make a sequel, there's no way they could kill him.
Yeah, let's be real.
Unless they're making it a prequel, or it's his clone or his son or whatever, who is also named John.
Or maybe maybe they'll do hopefully they bring Eve in for that too, because that'd be awesome.
I don't know. John Wick 5, John Harder.
Wow, that's something right there. But honestly, I really enjoyed this film, and honestly, we kind of summed it up pretty quickly.
Solid 3.5 stars for me.
Out of 5, yeah. Yeah, I'd give it
7 out of 10. 7.5
I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Yeah. And honestly, I originally wanted this part of the Spectrum Awards. I don't know if it's, considering the review, I don't know if it's justified at this point. Let us know in the comments if you'd like to see it up for a Spectrum Award too. Because I really enjoyed it, but I don't know if it's like top tier film of the year for sure.
All right.
So I think that wraps things up, and we're going to move on to our next Spectrum of Opinions review, I guess.
Okay.
All right. We'll be right back, folks. Welcome back, everyone. We're the cast of the Spectrum Show, and moving on to our next review, we have the live-action How to Train Your Dragon remake. Jackson, what do you think about this one? Because you have actually an interesting opinion of what I've heard.
I honestly kind of liked this.
Yeah,
I get the whole thing about this. Like, it is just the same movie fundamentally.
Yeah.
I feel like the main thing that helped me going into it is I have not seen the original How to Train Your Dragon since
really?
I think it came out. I haven't seen it since it came out, like, period.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I never watched 2, and I never watched 3. I need to watch 2.
Yeah, I think
I can probably still be good skipping 3. I've heard that one's not that good.
I heard it was fine from what I heard.
Yeah. Also, I heard it just kind of negates is the opposite of the message of the first movie, which is kind of interesting and circular.
Anyways,
but
plot.
yeah, I had not seen the original How to Train Your Dragon in a while. I went to see this in theaters, and I was pleasantly surprised by it. I guess you could say.
I mean,
like, it's definitely a remake that really doesn't need to exist, but it's still a movie I felt I had fun with, and I wouldn't mind like watching it again when it hits streaming.
Sure, yeah. And as for where it's gonna be streaming, I don't exactly know, but
Who released it again?
DreamWorks released it, so that means Universal.
I don't know what streaming service Universal stuff goes on.
I think it varies, but I think they have Peacock, I believe, because that's their
that
NBC
makes
Universal.
sense. Yeah.
But anyways, moving on to the plot of this film. Tell us what it is.
So the plot of this film is just the same plot as How to Train Your Dragon.
Yeah.
It's essentially Hiccup is a young Viking boy in a village that is entirely of Vikings that are constantly at war with this like big civilization of dragons that exist somewhere nearby them. They're like trying to steal the dragons try to steal their food and like kill Vikings and stuff, and the Vikings fight against them and try to kill them.
Yeah,
And this Hiccup is kind of a little weakling, which disappoints his dad, played by Gerard Butler, who
same
is
from the original.
Yeah, Gerard Butler is just he's transformed into the character he's playing in
So
live
well.
action. It's kind of disturbing how well he fits. I was like, wait, that's just the guy from the original. Like
If anything with more personality.
He's become a cartoon. He's become a cartoon.
He's become the character.
He is a cartoon in real life. How did this happen?
Yeah, but anyways.
Hiccup is like kind of tired of being disappointing his father, tired of being bullied by the other kids in the village who are way better at the whole dragon hunting thing than he is. And
honestly, like he befriends another dragon named Toothless.
That all changes when he meets Night Fury, an extremely rare, never like actually caught or killed race of dragon. He finds this one with a damaged tail wing, and he kind of starts becoming its friend, which is
and Ryder for that matter.
Yeah, friend Ryder. He helps fix Toothless's tail. He like teaches him just general stuff, how to do that stuff. And from learning with Toothless, he learns about different types of dragons.
And realizes like, hey,
which
maybe
ultimately,
that's what it seems.
Yeah,
you know?
which is not only it initially just gives him like a boost in his performance and like the dragon slaying stuff. Like he learns things about dragons his contemporaries don't.
Yeah.
And ultimately comes to the realization that dragons might not be
as bad
evil people that the Vikings all see them as.
Yeah, we might be in the wrong this whole time, basically. But honestly, I thought it was. I liked it. I didn't like it as much as the original, but I still liked it a lot. Honestly.
Like I said, I have no real metric to compare. The last time I saw the first one, I was in like wasn't even like a full teenager yet. I was like 12 to 14.
Same, honestly.
So,
I think it was younger than that.
Yeah,
honestly.
middle school. So I don't remember it at all.
Yeah, honestly. Like I actually rewatched the original to get ready for it because I had it in my like iTunes or whatever.
I need to watch the original again. I've heard it's really good.
It still holds up tremendously well.
This movie benefits somewhat from the lack of T.J. Miller, I will say.
Oh yeah, that's right. He was in the original.
Yeah,
but honestly,
he's rough nut.
Yeah, but anyway, we need to talk about the cast of this film.
Yeah.
Mason Thames. I think he does a really good job as Hiccup, honestly.
Wasn't he a big fan cast for Link before they revealed who the actual actor was?
I don't remember, honestly.
I think like you told me that when we were coming out of the movie, and I was like, I could see him as Link. It's not going to be.
I think you brought it up, and then I said I could see it.
Yeah, I don't know. Either way, I really like Mason Thames in this. He does a solid fill-up. Hiccup. Fun fact, I actually watched a movie with the original Hiccup in it somewhat recently, Blackberry. It's this really good movie, about the BlackBerry phone and the company's rise and fall.
Oh.
He plays the co-creator of the BlackBerry in that. Hiccup's original actor, and he does a really good job in that. But going back to this movie, enough shilling for BlackBerry right now. I really like the actor for Hiccup in this.
Gerard Butler, obviously.
Gerard Butler is probably doing the best in the movie, like, period.
Yeah.
He's the one who feels
most familiar with it.
Yeah, he feels the most natural, like, jumping into this role. I honestly like all the kid actors. I feel like all of them did a real relatively. But
there was a bunch of like wasn't the one who plays Fish Legs, wasn't he in Deadpool 2?
Fish Legs,
like the larger one.
I think that is the kid from Deadpool 2 and the MonsterVerse movies, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He was in the MonsterVerse.
Yeah, he's like, that kid. I like that guy. He's
who else was
Astrid is honestly one of my other main highlights of the movie.
I agree.
Like the actress for Astrid did a really good job. I hope she gets more work in the future.
I don't really remember her name, though.
I don't remember her name either. All I know is
we'll put it down below.
All I know is there was probably some people online complaining that she was black, so.
No, I don't think she was.
No.
Her hair was darker because she was blonde in the original.
She has dark skin and like stuff very clear in this movie. So there were probably people online going.
I don't remember seeing that, honestly.
Yeah, she is dark skinned, at least to some degree.
Huh? Didn't realize that, honestly. Could have fooled me.
Yeah, like I saw that and I was like, oh, there's probably like weirdos online who are. Anyways, moving on.
Yeah, moving past that.
But yeah, I really like Astrid. I think she's a really. I've never seen this actress in stuff before. Really strong first performance for me, and I want her to be in more stuff in the future.
Agreed. And
I could see her being. I don't know what she'd be in the DCU, but I could see her showing up there at some point. I hope so.
Yeah.
Same with Hiccup's actor. I feel like both of them could be really good in like more blockbuster stuff.
Agreed. But one thing I will say, I told this to you a lot in the theater, but the score of this movie, phenomenal.
I mean,
it's the same as the original.
Yeah, it's just the same as the original.
But still, like. It still holds up tremendously well.
This movie is the ultimate definition of if it broke, don't if it ain't broke, don't fix it, to its logical extreme, where this movie doesn't break anything from the original by being the exact same as the original.
A couple of line changes here and there, but nothing too much.
Yeah.
But honestly, that music is so good. Every time that the first scene where they're flying they're doing like the test flying scene where. Yeah. That music in that scene is fantastic.
I also felt the dragons, despite some iffy CGI here and there, generally looked pretty good.
Specifically Toothless, though.
Honestly, my favorite dragon was like the big queen one they fought at the end.
Oh,
like, that is a really well done CG dragon. Looks
almost identical to the original with a few minor changes.
I kind of want to talk about my favorite little line in this movie part of our wrapping up. They've killed hundreds of us, and we've killed thousands of them.
Yeah, and that's in the original, I believe, too.
Yeah, I feel like that's my favorite part, my favorite single thing to sum up the movie and its essential thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like it feels like How to Train Your Dragon in a lot of ways can be used to compare to like stuff. It's a bit of a messy metaphor, but it can easily be compared to like real world prejudice in some capacity.
It's a metaphor nonetheless.
Yeah, and I feel like because of that, like that really good bit where it's like Hiccup going.
And then there's more emotion in that line than there was in the original.
Yeah, the actor really killed it in that scene. Hiccup's actor, I really liked his delivery. In general, he and Gerard Butler work off each other well. I'd like to see them in something together again.
Yeah, and I will say some of the lines towards the beginning, the delivery was a little off, but once you got into the later half, you're like, oh, they're really picking it up here.
I just really appreciate that How to Train Your Dragon as a movie is essentially just very pro like. We can coexist together.
Yeah.
The ultimate thing is that the dragons aren't even evil. They're essentially being forced to serve this big evil dragon that is essentially like threatening to eat them if they disobey.
Pretty much, yeah.
And it's like they're
right to be fair.
Yeah, they're running from their own like natural enemy, and when the only people who could essentially help them against them, they are like treated as enemies by.
It's crazy.
And Hiccup is able to move past that, and it's just a really nice kind of message that I feel like is relevant, of course, in the original movie, and feels a little bit more, even more relevant currently in 2025.
Agreed. Yeah.
I just really appreciate this. I really like part of why I enjoyed seeing it so much in the theater. This one is just because like it feels very hopeful in a way.
Yeah. I agree. So what would you rate this movie out of 5 stars.
I'd give this a solid 4 out of 5, honestly.
I give it
like it's a movie that doesn't really need to exist, but also it's a movie that is
does good.
very fine. I'd be willing to show this to my kids if I had them.
Yep.
I'd probably show them the original too, but also you know.
I
just feel like it's a very solid and well done remake of a kids animated movie.
I 100% agree with that.
And probably the best live action remake I've ever seen.
I mean, that's not even a competition at that point.
Oh yeah, like the Disney stuff is.
It's like some of it's good, but like Jungle Book was good, honestly.
Yeah, I'm gonna be
That was
honest.
it.
Most Disney live actions like wish they could be this.
Yeah, like DreamWorks knew what they were doing with this one, honestly.
Like I know I need to watch. I need to watch The Little Mermaid. I've heard that despite most of the movie not being that good, that Ariel is really good in that.
I mean, we'll talk about that later. But anyways, we're going to wrap up this discussion. We'll be right back.
Be right back.
Welcome back, everyone. We are obviously the Cast of the Spectrum Show. We've been doing this for quite a while now. But we're moving on to our next review, which is F1 the movie. Which, honestly, I would ask what your spectrum of opinions is, but I'm just going to say mine right off the bat. This is my favorite movie of the year. Hands down.
It's good.
Okay, I'm insulted about that because this was honestly, this rivaled Sinners for me. Like,
No, not even close.
Well, let me just put it this way. Like, when I say rival, I know it's gonna be controversial, but like, if Sinners is like the peak movie of this year, this just there, in my opinion. I thought this was a very impressive film, honestly.
Look, you know, I was hoping I would be able to make this a more conventionally structured review, but now that you have sort of laid down the gauntlet, I have to kind of. Here's the thing. Sinners is about a lot of things, big ideas, important ideas,
This
metaphor,
is straightforward.
metaphor, and it also happens to be a really competent, very competent and thrilling action and horror movie. F1. It's just like it has really good racing scenes, and the story's all right.
Well, speaking of story, tell us what the story is, just for reference.
Brad Pitt is that guy your dad kind of imagines himself as, who thinks that, he was, like, he had his shot at the world, but circumstance just kind of let him down. So, in this case, in regards to racing cars. So, he felt like he could have had a shot F1 racing, but the world wouldn't let him. But now, he's offered a chance to, let this dying F1 team win one race, literally just one, because they keep losing, so that this one rookie guy can, actually have his shot on this team as opposed to just having his career die immediately because he signed up with a bad team. He does this by violating several F1 rules.
I guess you're right. He does actually violate quite a lot of the rules in the F1 scene, actually. But honestly, it kind of makes you think like how bold of a racer the Sonny Hayes character was.
Well, by bold you mean he's literally cheating. Like they literally I did my research. They have literally disbarred F1 racers for doing the things he does in this.
That's honestly crazy to think about.
Because
honestly.
It's obviously cheating.
Yeah, but I will say,
I mean,
they're cheating, but they do it masterfully.
Look, it's a movie. I don't really care that he's cheating or that in real life he would have been thrown out. But it does sort of you do kind of sort of lose that excuse when you're, one, bragging about how realistic your F1 scenes are down to having, a relatively minimal amount of special effects because you actually had cars on a track. Yeah. And two, get a bunch of F1 superstars to cameo in your movie.
Yeah, Lewis Hamilton, who I think was one of the producers, I believe, is actually a racer in real life, I believe.
But yeah, no, don't get me wrong. The F1 scenes, the scenes in the cars, are immaculate.
Yeah, they are amazing. And that final race in particular is one of the best races I've ever seen in a movie, honestly.
There's some really good stuff here. But
there's just a couple of things that are a little iffy here and there.
Yeah, no, the story is your standard down and out dude who your dad looks up to as this embodiment of everything that could have been if I had my shot, man.
Yeah, but I do like how some of them were portrayed outside of the racing scene.
The actors are good.
Yeah, everyone did a fine job of what they were given, I think.
Really. But yeah, no, the scenes, but the whole thing with Sonny. Okay, so Sonny Hayes' strategy, the big edge that he gives them is that he keeps crashing his car into other cars to essentially
design it for combat, basically.
Well, to essentially force, like, other cars to basically hold their position. And he does this strategically to basically give his, up-and-coming rookie teammate, advantageous positions in the race.
Which is awesome, but also crazy at the same time.
Like, it honestly reminds me of this old anime I watched called One Outs, which was basically about this same principle applied to baseball, except there they at least tried to make it look like they weren't cheating in the context of the show.
Fair enough, but I still, regardless, it's still a fun time nonetheless in the theater. And like and honestly, for those unaware, I do work at a theater, and this is a film that's actually, just for the F1 scenes, the racing scenes alone, see this in the theaters while you still can.
No, you really should see it in the theaters. I kind of regret not seeing it in IMAX. I do think
same.
it's weird that the narrative sort of leans towards Sonny's side when he's lecturing the rookie about, you're reckless. You don't really care about, like, your own safety or other people's safety. When Brad Pitt is literally out here colliding his car into other cars on purpose.
Well, it's kind of the pot calling the kettle black for sure.
Yeah, no, and like this is like, I mean, basically, like, one of the real obnoxious things I find about this movie is that it's so intent on, like, this sort of, like, middle-aged to older man ennui of I could have had my shot, that, like, the end of the movie isn't actually about Brad Pitt doing what he was supposed to do and stepping aside to give this rookie his place in the final race. It's about the rookie sacrificing himself so Brad Pitt can have a literal actual victory lap.
It's kind of, that was, when you put it like that, it is pretty bold choice.
You say bold, I say kind of thematically confused. Or, maybe
Fair enough.
Given that this is the Top Gun guy who's basically made an entire movie about, look how cool 60-year-old Tom Cruise is still doing the things you remember him doing from the original Top Gun, but with kind of real planes now.
Yeah, I mean,
like, basically made to appeal to a sort of nostalgic sense of the good old days and like a sense that I deserved better in getting my shot or whatever, which is in some ways a little insidious, but like not really politically charged, at least not here.
Fair enough, but regardless, I still really enjoyed this film nonetheless. I think you bring up the flaws, obviously, and it does have them, but I think when it's good, it's really good.
No, when it's good, it's really good. I enjoy this movie quite a bit. It's conventional, but like,
it does it
like
well.
It's conventional, but it has, enough like flavor and like good performances on top to, bring it up a notch. It's a solid 8 out of 10 movie.
Yeah, I would maybe give it an 8.5, but honestly, I really enjoy this nonetheless. Honestly, I would still keep this as a contender, even though for Spectrum Awards this year, because I did enjoy it that much, and it was definitely worth seeing it in the theater. It's still actually in a lot of theaters, actually.
I mean, it did pretty well for itself.
And it's still doing really well, actually.
I mean, like, if you want some more maybe thematically, meat on the bone type racing movies, Ford versus Ferrari is one.
True, yeah.
And from like about 10 years ago now, Ron Howard's Rush, starring Chris Hemsworth and Daniel Bruhl, doing the Niki Lauda James Hunt rivalry. That's another great one.
Right, maybe
that one's also about F1, I think.
Well, there you go. And Chris Hemsworth actually had a cameo in this, I think.
Did he?
He did, like towards the very end, like when they were in the Abu Dhabi race, like you could see him. He had a cameo.
Huh.
So that must have been a little callback to that.
Maybe. That might have been like a decent chance. Anyway,
the
F1.
more you know, huh?
F1, go see it. Pretty dang good movie, but no, it's not as good as Sinners or Weapons.
Fair enough. Okay. Like I said, it was just there, I say.
Okay.
But anyways, I think that wraps up this review. So we're gonna cut for a little bit, and then we'll get back to our next one. All right, see you in a bit. Well, guys, we have to pause there for now, but don't think this is over just yet, because next time we're finishing up the rest of the reviews for Summer Spectrum, and believe me when I say, hey, we got some really good ones lined up.
Indeed we do. Thank you all so much for watching part 1 of this 2-part episode. Be sure to leave a like, a friendly comment, share these episodes with your family and friends, and subscribe to our channel with notifications on.
Follow us on Facebook, Threads, Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitch. Join our Discord server. Become a member of our Patreon. Just $1 a month to get access to exclusive bonus content.
See you all in part 2.